Good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jesse Thomas. This is your late night CTV news. Tonight, scrapping again. Controversial recycling facility gets approval to resume operations. Then, gun control. Halifax shooting raises concerns over illegal guns. And wheels go round. School bus driver recruitment ramps up.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Jesse Thomas.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A scrap metal facility embroiled in controversy has been given the green light to continue operations. AIM Recycling, located near a residential neighborhood in Moncton, has its license renewed today for at least the next few months. CTV's Derek Haggett has the story.
In late May, Public Safety Minister Chris Austin spoke in the legislature saying he took those concerns from residents very seriously. He warned AIM their license would be revoked if the company didn't address issues the province found at the facility. Residents say the scrapyard shouldn't be able to operate so close to a neighborhood, and the noise can be unbearable at times. They're frustrated with the municipal and provincial governments.
I'm furious. I'm furious, and I can't even point the finger to which one because everybody is passing the buck on this. Everybody's saying it's that person, it's this department that's responsible, and it just keeps getting pushed.
It's a bit of a disappointment, but, you know, what do we expect from government, that they're going to actually listen to citizens right away? No, it'll take 6 months, a year.
We pay our taxes. We're good residents, and AIM, I don't know. Yeah, are they more powerful than we are? I don't know. I've had enough.
CTV News reached out to AIM for comment on the renewal, but had not heard back by late afternoon. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
And local media got a show and tell today at the Halifax Infirmary about a new medical infrastructure. Staff were showing off the interventional radiology suite and the new hybrid operating room, the first of its kind in Atlantic Canada. The space will use X-ray, ultrasound, and CT scan to better treat things like cancer, stroke, blocked organs, and drainage.
And this is, again, something...
Interventional radiology is about doing a minimally invasive procedure using imaging guidance.
We're the only center within the province performing this procedure. We're also accepting patients from PI as well. And that makes us really the mothership. So we get phone calls all the time from other centers like Yarmouth, like Sydney, and consulting us with patients that are there with a stroke, and they're being flown in or with life flight or with ground transportation to get this treatment done here as soon as possible.
And Dr. Lightfoot says with the new machinery and technology, efficiency is up at the site by 20%, which means they see around 8,000 patients a year now. That's up from 6,000. Next on the wish list is to see a similar facility at the Victoria General site in Halifax set up. The country's fastest growing city last year is gearing up for continued growth. Moncton has unveiled expansion plans for the Vision Lands. CTV's Alana Pickrell has more.
This area of dense trees and unused space has been a topic of conversation for 2 decades now. But with Moncton claiming the title as one of the fastest growing communities in Canada the last 2 years, long-range policy planning team manager Josh Davies says the time for development is now.
Vision Lands would be one part of the wider strategy, but certainly one that is going to be able to accommodate a substantial amount of residential, commercial development over the next 25 years.
The Vision Lands is about 1,400 acres in Moncton's north end, between Wheeler Boulevard, the Trans-Canada Highway, Mapleton Road, Morton Avenue, and McLaughlin Drive. The current focus is on the western portion.
What we're looking at is about 650 acres of a total 1,400 acres, where we're doing a master plan with the idea of going to our council to ask them for a change of rezoning, to lay out street networks, to really provide the roadmap for the development of this area.
The idea, create a new community within Greater Moncton where people can work, live, and play, all while addressing a growing need.
Unfortunately, we're experiencing a housing crisis. Our vacancy rate is 1.2%, which is very low. Having these projects on hand will somehow ease that crisis. giving opportunity for not only for residents of Greater Moncton, but also newcomers.
We're looking at potentially up to 42,000 residents that could be living in the Vision Lands, which would reflect approximately around 18,000 housing units.
However, Davies says several things need to happen first, including consolidating the western portion into the wider Vision Lands plan, a rezoning application through council, a cost-sharing agreement with landowners, and they also hope to see provincial and federal government funding.
Then really once that's in place, the shovel can hit the ground.
Davies says the hope is to see shovels in the ground for the western portion in the next 3 to 5 years, with a goal of developing the entire Vision Lands area down the road. Alana Pickrell, CTV News, Moncton.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
And staying in Moncton, there was heavy police presence at a popular park there this afternoon. Officers responded to a call of 2 men walking the trails of Mapleton Park, who they believed may have been carrying a gun. Mounties patrolled the area on foot, and a drone was used, but no one matching the description of the men were found. And no arrests have been made in the daylight shooting that injured 5 people at an annual event in Halifax over the weekend. The incident has put a spotlight on gun violence and the availability of weapons in the city. CTV's Hafsa Arif has more on what's being done about it.
A teen is still in hospital with life-threatening injuries after shots were fired by gunmen at an event Saturday night. A fundraiser identifies her as 17-year-old Krisha Carvery. She and 4 other young people were hit.
Cause concern for our community and certainly for us as well.
Police have not arrested any suspects. The incident highlights gun violence in the city.
Certainly anytime we're going to see violence within our community that can put our general community at risk, it's going to be concerning to us, and it's going to be one of our priorities for sure.
Over the years, Nova Scotia hasn't seen gun violence increase, but it hasn't gone down either.
Guns and gangs are more attractive to them than trying to get a job in mainstream society and make a living. One of the other issues is the courts aren't necessarily taking this serious.
Another problem. Guns are coming in through U.S. borders. So far this year, Halifax police have seized 187 illegal firearms.
We seek out individuals that that may have illegal firearms and certainly have the opportunity to cause violence in our community, and we're seeking those individuals out.
The province's answer.
There are guns and gangs violence programs, as well as the buyback program that the federal government has, and the crime prevention gun program that we have in the province.
But experts say some programs work and others don't.
They're not going to go say, okay, I'm going to give up my gun. I'll get $150 and I'm going to go work at McDonald's. That's not going to happen.
In the meantime, a 17-year-old girl is in hospital, recovering from a violent act at what was supposed to be a celebration. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
After years of school bus driver shortages, it appears the gap may be closing. That's welcome news as the new school year approaches. CTV's Stephanie Sikos has more from Halifax.
The start of the school year may still be about a month away, but preparations are well underway at this transportation company in Dartmouth.
There's more people, needs more schools, more busing, and we're just trying to look to be able to provide the service that we need to provide for the people.
The clock is also ticking on hiring more bus drivers.
We're still heavily recruiting right now. We're feeling positive going into the new school year. But we're still seeing a slow roll-in of applicants.
For the past few years, there has been a shortage of drivers both locally and across the country.
I see that being on the upswing now. I've noticed here anyways, we seem to be on the upswing with the drivers and having more people coming in to become school bus drivers, and our training department is constantly training new people.
Getting enough drivers is no small feat. Just the Halifax Regional Center for Education alone needs 400 buses to transport more than 30,000 children to school. The division says lately it hasn't experienced any significant shortages due to strong recruitment efforts. In the meantime, there is plenty of other work to be done.
A lot of what we're doing right now is in-class training, on-the-road training. We're doing a lot of prep work with our fleet. A lot of preventative maintenance and just working on the routing and putting a major emphasis on recruiting.
As for Andy Taggart, he's been a dispatcher for around 30 years and is looking forward to seeing some new drivers.
People don't realize the joy that they get from being with these kids day in and day out. It's a phenomenal thing. It really is.
Transco is still looking for another 8 drivers and 8 patrollers before September. Stephanie Seco, CTV News, Dartmouth.
The Acadian flag was raised at Province House in Halifax today to mark the first Acadian Heritage Month. August was proclaimed as Acadian Heritage Month to honor more than 400 years of Acadian history here in Nova Scotia. An international Congress of Acadian communities held every 5 years will be hosted in southwestern Nova Scotia beginning next Saturday. The National Acadian holiday is August 15th. All right, still to come tonight, marking Emancipation Day. But next, easing access to mental health help.
Somewhere kids can go, youth can go, to have someone to talk to.
Counseling services for youth struggling with their mental health gets a boost. We'll explain next. Stick around.